Hi, everyone. Welcome to Redline Report powered by Hiremaster. I'm Jennifer White, and today we're talking shipping lanes, last minute negotiations for U.S. railroads, tips for drivers, and more. Let's go. Inside the numbers this week, ocean shipping has played a large role in the cost of automobiles as the supply chain industry has dealt with high demand and limited supply of cargo vessels. After hearing predictions earlier this summer of ocean shipping rates rising, the concern now is the reality of those predictions partnered with a continual limited supply of vessels. A recent article from Transport Topics noted that the United States, Europe, and the United Kingdom are among the biggest import markets for automobiles, according to Clarkson Research Services. George Wist, CEO of Graham Car Carriers ASA, mentions that a growing portion of exports are coming from China, further stretching the fleet, and so that some companies are concerned about securing vessels to haul cars. Graham signed a 5-year deal to hire out one of its vessels at a rate of $60,000 a day, which is less than the current rate of $80,000 per day to lease one of these ships today. Towards the end of 2021, the cost to transport goods reached remarkable levels. However, this cost has since decreased over the past 4 months. While the cost to transport goods has significantly declined, the cost to rent ships in which goods are transported has, after each passing month, reported freight indexes sliding and charter indexes remaining near record highs into this summer. As reported by FreightWaves, this is no longer the case. Indexes that measure container ship rental rates are now rapidly decreasing, thus resulting in steeper declines than freight indexes. Ship charter indexes have declined as well. Braemar, a ship brokerage, commented on the unprecedented levels reported and said, quote, "What is astonishing is how quickly the market appears to turn. Only some weeks ago, charter rates appeared stable and operators were still securing forward tonnage at historically high rates on long-term periods." End quote. Additionally, Alphaliner, a service provider for shipbrokers and other shipping professionals, warned the public that, quote, "Although the rates currently obtainable by most types of ships remain strong by historical standards, the speed at which they have lately been falling has taken market stakeholders by surprise. The current drop in charter rates is probably more than a simple market correction." End quote. With charter indexes rapidly decreasing, it is likely to see significantly weaker charter deals in the near future. In this week's Freight Insights segment, the freight labor strike still looming, it's no surprise that there has been serious conflict between cargo workers and management this past year, resulting in difficult challenges to the supply chain around the world. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, a 2-week strike has launched at the UK's Liverpool port. The dock workers' walkout is just a singular occurrence in a series to impact the country's transportation network. According to the Wall Street Journal, the dock workers' walkout immediately also follows an agreement the U.S. reached in which an attempt was made to prevent a potential nationwide freight rail strike. Liz Schuler, the president of the AFL-CIO, the largest federation of labor unions in the U.S., said, quote, "Workers are tired of being called essential and treated as expendable. I do think this is emblematic of what we have seen and what we are going to continue to see." End quote. The strike at Port of Liverpool and others alike have shut down freight transportation operations for a period of time. Other strikes, such as the near strike against U.S. railroads, have prompted contingency planning by businesses bracing for a broader impacts. For this week's Hiremaster Tip of the Week, it's important for companies to prioritize effective communication throughout an organization, which is the number one factor in building a strong culture. And with many employees working remotely or in a hybrid working environment, communication has never been more critical. Most issues arise from miscommunications or just a lack of communication altogether. So be intentional to over-communicate and create clarity, which is important. Success is the product of proper expectations, which are created through clear communication. Let's focus on prioritizing communication throughout your organization. The Biden administration has urged ports in the last few weeks to move to 24/7 operations rather than their traditional hours. They are now moving away from this idea as it has not had much support due to the costs involved. White House Port and Supply Chain Envoy General Stephen Lund stated that people are driven by their incentives. Pay is a high incentive to reach, and employees are not simply driven by more money per hour. Some ports who did move to 24/7 operations reported that there was a low willingness to work those hours, as well as having to reduce their hours once again because of low utilization. Stated in an article from Supply Chain Dive, it states, quote, incentives have risen in popularity among ports since the Port Envoy's office was created. Several West Coast ports considered a container dwell fee last year to speed cargo flow, and a similar fee was proposed at the New York and New Jersey port complex earlier this year, end quote. More efforts will be dedicated to finding other incentives or better hours of operations. And that's all for this week's Redline Report. I'm Jennifer White. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch each episode and leave us a like and a comment. We'll see you next time on the Redline Report, powered by Hiremaster.